All right.
He's outside.
Steve's outside.
Yes. We're out on the Fox 5 Sky Deck, and I have two goals for you right now. One is to keep you safe, and two is to share a daily dose of cuteness. And apologies to Dr. Christopher Good with the Virginia Spine Institute. The cuteness was not directed at you personally. Good to see you.
Good morning. Thanks for having it.
But Griswold, tell me about Griswold.
So Griswold is our family pup. He's a 6-year-old sheepadoodle, pretty big boy. But he's been actually helping me to teach people about how to walk their dogs and try and avoid injuries, particularly protecting our backs as part of the Virginia Spine Institute.
And that's one of the things that we wanted to talk about with you today, because we just had a recent spate of winter weather, and we had all the ice and the snow that was on the ground. And unfortunately, these guys still need to go out and take care of business, so we take them out for the walks. And let's talk about, first of all, in the bad weather, if we get more snow or more ice, what are some of the tips that you have for people to make sure we don't hurt ourselves taking care of these guys?
Well, you know, the crazy thing is about 20,000 people end up in the ER every year because of dog walking injuries. So when you get down to it, it's a pretty big problem.
Yeah.
Then you add in the ice and the snow and unstable footings, you can get into more issues.
What do you see as far as injuries when it comes to dog walking?
So I actually saw somebody with a concussion in our office just last week. People, you know, the first thing we think about is somebody who's got the leash and the dog runs and it jerks them, right? And either that injures your back by twisting you or breaking a finger, but also people are distracted, they're on their phone, boom, right into a wall or a concussion, so those kind of things.
Let's take a little walk. How do you handle it? What's the best way that you think that we should be, you know, staying close to the dog or even holding the leash? What works best for you?
Sure. So there's some debate here. I've got normally a pretty long lead, and Griswold's usually great for me, so I know like he's just going to stay with me. And my first plug would be spend some time training your dog.
Okay.
Now, if you have a dog that has a tendency to pull and be friendly, I think having a shorter, stiff leash is safe, because those zippy leashes, off they go, and then what do? They jerk you when they come to an end.
Exactly.
And so the dog needs to know, hey, I'm taking a walk, you know, I'm with you, and I think having a tight leash the whole time helps him to stay focused.
But you can even see in Griswold, obviously he's very, very well behaved, but you can just tell, I mean, it's just their natural instinct. If they see a squirrel or they hear a noise or the car or the truck that goes by on the highway, their attention is, you know, they get a little distracted.
Absolutely.
So is that where the danger really comes in for the person walking them?
Well, and people tend to wrap the leash around their hand or in their fingers, or they hook it to them or their bicycle, and then when that happens, you're in a whole other world of hurt.
So you talked about, you know, obviously if the dog lunges and you get jerked, and that can hurt your spine, but do you see a lot of the hand injuries as well?
That's the other thing you see, finger fractures, dislocated joints, and that's really more from having the leash tied around and then being caught off guard.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we're all so distracted these days. People are on their phone, and if you're not mindful about what you're doing, you know, you're wearing flip-flops, poor shoes, it's icy, all kinds of things can go wrong. And so it is a little bit kind of like an athletic activity for some people, and we maybe kind of need to gear up to be a little more focused on it.
And I was going to ask you about that, and I was going to take advantage of your skills as a spine surgeon, because we don't want to just see you when something hurts, right? So how can we, I guess, condition our bodies maybe a little in advance so that we don't, if the dog does run off a little bit, it's not going to hurt us as much?
Absolutely, right? Prevention is worth an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So in terms of the back, if we're getting some regular fitness, getting some cardio, working on our core strength, those are the muscles around our spine that protect our back, we're going to be much more able to sustain any kind of injury that comes up, whether it's walking the dog or bending over or shoveling snow, whatever comes up during these winter months. So putting in a little bit of time taking care of yourself can help to prevent getting into these kind of issues.
I got you. All right, Griswold, come here. We need to get you in your close-up one more time. Look at this camera right here and set it back inside to everybody in the loft, okay? Can you do that? Oh, that's a good boy.
Going for a kiss.
And it's first.